It's 24 hours since Fitch cut a notch off BP's credit rating and told us that more downgrades may follow by placing it on a negative watch. Well, let's find out exactly why that decision was taken and, of course, what might come next. I'm joined now by Jeffrey Woodruff. He is energy analyst at Fitch Ratings agency. Jeffrey, thanks for joining us this morning. I suppose some people might look at it and say, well, what took you so long? I mean, there's obviously sort of major problems there. What was the tipping point? Why did you decide yesterday to downgrade BP?
Yeah, I think on balance we viewed the problems that BP's had with the well as continuing to grow and posing new risks to its business and financial profile. I think up until this point we were waiting for BP to have some success in its containment efforts, and with the fail of the top-killed effort and them having to resort back to a containment method, both on balance that the risk to the company's business profile continued to grow, and therefore took rating action yesterday to downgrade them from AA+ to AA, which is still a strong credit rating and reflects our view that the company still has the financial resources that are necessary to clean up the costs and meet its commitments. But on balance, the business risks are growing for the company.
I mean, it does still have a strong balance sheet, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely. The company is very profitable. Oil prices continue to remain high, and we view that the company has the financial resources that are necessary for cleanup and containment costs. But the problems that they've had with the spill, the fact that they've, as I said, had to revert to a containment method and have been unable to stop the flow, as well as now pending financial commitments that might be facing the company, viewed us as raising the credit risks.
This has really been the kind of crux of the matter, hasn't it? If they'd managed to actually say, look, we can prevent this, we can cap the oil spill, that would have made a difference.
Yes.
So now do you think that the costs of clearing it up, the fines they will face, and everything else that will happen along the Louisiana coast and possibly now Florida, it's very hard to actually put a figure on what that final cost is going to be, right?
Absolutely, and that's part of the rating watch that you mentioned in the opening piece, because we don't know exactly what's going to transpire from here. Once again, they've resorted to a containment method, which is subject to weather-related problems. Perhaps if hurricanes pick up, they might have to abandon that effort, increasing the oil flow once again. But if oil continues to flow, then the financial commitments grow. Well,
we can see on our screen actually pictures of exactly what's happening there now. The oil is still pouring out. What we're being told at the moment is that although BP has managed to get through this next procedure, it will, and we've heard all this before, take a few days to see how successful this is. But as you say, this may not work in the longer term, and indeed if it doesn't, then we're talking August before these relief wells can be drilled, right?
Possibly, yes, at the earliest. So the method now is to put a cap on top of it, which would be a containment effort. So they want to take oil back to a ship and stop the flow that way. But ultimately, to stop the well from flowing, it will take these relief wells, which, as we said in our press release yesterday, could run into some problems as well. It's not a given that on the first try in August that will be the end of it. There could be a few more months before even the relief wells work.
Now, one of the things that's raising concerns at the moment is the idea of a dividend. From your point of view, does that have any particular significance, whether they pay a dividend or not?
Well, it's actually interesting because from a credit standpoint, it's slightly different. Actually, for creditors, keeping cash in the business is a good thing.
You'd quite like it if they didn't pay a dividend.
Shareholders are not very favorable to that, and we are having a call today with the company to explain sort of what their dividend policy might be, and they are under some political pressure, I understand, from the U.S. to retain the dividend and make sure that cash is available for the cleanup costs. In our forecast for the company, we're not forecasting a dividend cut, but as I said, from a creditor standpoint, it's slightly different. Retaining cash in the business is actually better for creditors and it's negative for shareholders.
Now, BP is on a negative watch at the moment from your point of view. What would it take, or what kind of things would you be looking for before you would downgrade again? Yeah,
the watch, as I said, is there to talk to the risks that the company's facing. Once again, if there's problems with the relief wells, maybe they don't work or they take longer than it could be expected, or if there's another accident somehow and something gets knocked over in the hurricane and the spill gets worse, those sort of factors I think would impact the rating. In regards to financial liabilities, there's lots of talk about the damages or punitive damages that the company could be facing. It's too early yet to say what those could be, but I can say from a credit standpoint, it's the timing of those payments that's important. So whatever figure eventually comes out, from a credit standpoint, it's more important to know if they have to meet those on a short-term basis or if those payments would be made over a series of 5, 10, or 15 years, and that would also influence the credit rating.
And from a credit ratings point of view, what about Tony Hayward? Would it make a difference if he had to step down as CEO?
I think we'd like to see some continuity in the leadership of the company. It's always sort of unfavorable to have management changes at the top. We like to see sort of a stability in corporate governance and management, but I think beyond that it's hard for us to take a view on his position. Okay, well, we're going to be keeping a close eye on this. Thank you very much indeed for coming in and explaining that decision, Jeffrey Woodruff. Thank you very much. Thank you.